Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Tonight, y'all know who I got with me, man. Y'all see right there on the screen. I got my cousin Ron. Once again, y'all know how we do. So we're gonna have some fun and everything like that. Got a couple of topics that we're gonna talk about, but before we get started, Ron, are you drinking on anything tonight?
I'm taking the lights and I'm drinking vodka and lemonade.
All right. And I'm drinking on a Crown and Coke tonight. So we both got to be up early in the morning, so we're just gonna just keep it cool, keep it light. But there's a couple of things that we're going to talk about tonight. And Ron hit me up last week. We're going to discuss this. We got to talk about LeBron James. Got to talk about LeBron James and the comments he made last week on a podcast where he was golfing and everything. To break it down, he made a comment about Milwaukee and Memphis. All right. He basically said that he doesn't want to go to a Milwaukee on the Tuesday, then Memphis on the Thursday. And then he made a statement saying that pretty much the Grizzlies should move out of Memphis and go to Nashville. All right. So, Ron, I just want to let you have it. Give us your take on it and how you feel about his statements.
Man, LeBron's in the hot seat, ain't he? He's been catching a lot of smoke these past couple of weeks from people I didn't even expect him to catch smoke from. But I'm open minded enough to see it from somebody else's vantage point, and I can see why certain people feel the way they feel. But I believe his comments were taken out of context. He didn't mean, in my opinion, he didn't mean any disrespect to Memphis. He just said he didn't want to be in Memphis on a random Thursday. And he wasn't, they're driving this narrative like he's pushing for the Grizzlies to be moved to Nashville. He's not pushing for it. He just made a comment. He just stated his opinion. And another comment he made regarding Memphis was the hotel they were staying in, the Hyatt Centric. LeBron's a billionaire. NBA stars are millionaires, multimillionaires, and they want to stay in five-star properties. And I can't say that I blame them. I'm not a millionaire. Hell, I'm barely a thousandaire. But I'm particular about where I lay my head. And when you think about security, people love LeBron, but somebody to rob them. if they saw the opportunity to get close enough to him, like, shit, I love you, you the GOAT. But shit, you need to empty your pockets. But hotels like the Hyatt Centric are hotels that are easily accessible, in my opinion, by anybody. Anybody can just walk up in the Hyatt Centric. And you can't just walk up in the Waldorf Astoria like that and get to the NBA players or the Four Seasons or the Ritz Carlton. You're going to get turned around. You're going to get embarrassed. You're going to get turned around. So I don't see it as a dig. I think he was just stating his opinion. But with that being said, financially, it would make more sense for the Grizzlies to move to Nashville. Nashville is a booming city. And I'm not saying that because I live here. I'm just stating fact. The arena is 15 minutes from an international airport. 15 minutes. People are flying, catch a game, and fly back out. It's a big tourist city. And that's why they have the SEC tournament here every single year. The SEC executives, they would rather be in Tampa for the weather, for the golfing, but the average fan, they love Nashville. You can walk out of the arena, and hit Broadway, hit up all the honky tonks, or Walk to your hotel. Your hotel chances are within walking distance from Nashville. Memphis doesn't have the money Nashville has. So how hard is it for them to make payroll? I'm not saying that it's hard for them to make payroll, but Memphis just doesn't have that type of income that Nashville does. So to me, it just makes sense. And I'm not mad at him for saying that at all.
Yeah, I also agree with you. I think his comments were taken out of context. I remember when the Grizzlies was in Vancouver, and then when they moved to Memphis, I was excited because it's like Tennessee finally getting an NBA team. I've been to a Grizzlies game before. Um, Very exciting, but I kind of and here's the thing: LeBron's not the only one who made that statement about the Grizzlies going to Nashville. You've heard plenty of people, whether it's on sports networks or you might hear some politicians probably clamoring for NBA team come to Nashville. Nashville already has the Predators, already has the Titans. I know Nashville is they won a major league team, baseball team there. I know we got the Nashville Sounds, which is a really good minor league team. So, like you said, it's booming. Nashville is definitely booming, and the surrounding areas of Nashville is booming. So, and again, 15 minutes away from the airport. I mean, it's
Can't beat that.
very, yeah.
Can't beat that
And,
at all.
and Nashville is a huge tourist city. You know, you got a lot of people that come to Nashville for whatever event. It could be a concert, it could be what do you call them? Bachelorette parties. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you have
Bachelor capital.
yeah, so you have it's a big tourist city. Obviously, you know, even though country music is huge in Nashville, but other genres is huge too. So it's a lot that I think for me the Grizzlies can benefit moving to Nashville. I know that the NBA is going to expand um soon, and I know Nashville was in the talks. Nashville was in the talks about getting an expansion team. And then at the same time, people was like, well, if you already got a team in Tennessee, why not just take the Grizzlies from Memphis to Nashville? Um, who else? Who actually made a statement? If I remember, Stephen A. Smith actually made a statement about possibly the NBA getting the NBA, Nashville getting the NBA team, and he recognized how booming the city is. You got to remember, it wasn't how many years ago was it? A few years ago, where Nashville was the host of the NFL draft. So that goes to show you, you know, Nashville is much more than just what people know, just country music. There's a lot more that Nashville can offer. And personally, I think it would benefit, you know, the fans, you know, those in the state of Tennessee, instead of having to drive from all the way from East Tennessee all the way to Memphis to go catch a Grizzlies game if they're a Grizzlies fan. Nashville's basically in the middle of Tennessee, so I think that would be beneficial as well. So I don't see an issue with what he said. He's just stating his opinion. A lot of people have that same opinion as he does, and you know, it has nothing to do with race because he never brought up race. I know a lot of people was saying, "Oh, it has something to do with race." No, I mean, and yeah, I think LeBron James is a businessman too, so he understands, you know, the business aspect of moving a team from a place like Memphis to a city like Nashville. So I don't have a problem with what he said, you know.
Well,
So
he wasn't the only one to say. He wasn't the only NBA player to say that. Kevin Durant said it.
mhm.
Anthony Davis said it. And he didn't say that just about Nashville. He said that about Milwaukee. He said that about Cleveland. He's from Cleveland. Well, he's from
And
Akron. Well, as far as from Nashville is to Clarksville, but still, I digress. He's from Cleveland. You played for the team twice, brought a championship to Cleveland. So I think a lot of people felt disheartened because, well, he right now, believe it or not, he's still the face of the NBA, or definitely one of the faces. He's goated. He's on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore for NBA players. His name, his popularity, his voice carries weight behind it. So I can see why some people are up in arms. And also, no other NBA player here lately has championed for injustices of marginalized communities like LeBron. He opened up a school for marginalized children to send them to college. So some people feel like he's forgetting where he came from. He's turning his back on his people. Because let's be honest, Memphis is a black town. Memphis is very black. And I could see why, again, their vantage point, not mine, but I could see why they're taking offense to it because they're looking at it through that particular lens.
Yeah, and also from a economic lens too. That's it's many different viewpoints that you can take it, and but also too, I think this is something that nobody really wants to bring up either. When you're talking about superstars in the NBA, I'm not talking about your average NBA player. We're talking superstars. When it comes to if they're a free agent, they're not looking at small market teams. They're not looking at a Memphis. They're not looking at um a Milwaukee, you know. They're not looking at, well, I'm not gonna say San Antonio right now. Back then they was, because San Antonio was one of the top teams in the league. But when you think about a lot of small market teams, they weren't checking for those teams. They're looking at LA, they're looking at New York, Miami, Chicago,
Awesome.
Philly, Boston. So for a place like, you think about Memphis, yeah, they've had great players to come through, right, over the years. But great players don't stay unless the money is right. And as you can see now, what's going on with the team, we know they about to move on from Ja Morant. So,
Probably a good thing for him because judges don't know how to act.
right. So even then, like if you don't have really a face for a team, like people don't want to come check out your team because you don't have a superstar on your team. Guess what? If you put that team in Nashville, people will go, because one, like you said, a big tourist city. A lot of people want to go to an NBA game. They just don't have the means to travel as far to go check out, they're fans of the Grizzlies. Like for me, I would rather travel 45 minutes to go check out an NBA game rather than a couple of hours to go check out an NBA game. It's just how I feel. Um, so yeah, it's hard for one, it's hard for small market teams to keep a superstar, but it's even harder to attract a superstar unless that team is one of the top teams in the league and they're competing for a championship. So I'm with you. I don't have any issues with it. I have not heard, and it's not, and like I said, it's not just LeBron, like you said, it's other players, not just superstar players, but just your average NBA players. A lot of them don't like to go to Memphis. They just really don't. And that's what they're seeing. So how can you argue with what an NBA player is saying versus, you know, I get it, you're in your feelings because they're talking about your city, but I mean, outside of how many years has the Grizzlies been here? 20, 20 years? 25?
I got
Okay.
I'm on my laptop tonight, so let me
I know it was
so
early. I know it was like early 2000s when they came.
How long have the Grizzlies been in Memphis? Nearly 25 years. They relocated, excuse me, I can't talk. They relocated from Vancouver before the 2001 2002 NBA season.
Yeah. And again, they had great players that come through the franchise, but those great players went on to um
Other franchises.
other franchises and they were successful. Not saying that Memphis never had a great team. We had some great teams, the Zebo and um who was it? Mike Conley and Marcus All,
Yeah,
uh
Gasol.
Tony Allen, that team. No, the in the what year was that? That was like the early 2010s or something like that, where they made it to the Western Conference Finals and then they still fired their coach right after that, Lionel Hollins. I remember that. I was upset because they lost to
Uh,
that. Matter of fact, that was the 2010-2011 season.
they
I
lost to
remember.
San Antonio because some bullshit call against uh, Zach Randolph, and they suspended him for Game 7,
Mhm.
which I thought was bullshit. Now, later on, where it's coming to light, or it came to light, that the referee, same referee that was caught up in all of that gambling.
Oh, the was
Like,
it the Donahue? Was that before him?
let's see, in ref,
'Cause I remember watching.
Tim, Tim, Tim Donahue.
Yeah, Donahue.
Oh,
Yeah, the referee.
it's
Yeah,
him.
yeah. I saw the. I don't know if it was the ESPN did a documentary or Netflix, one of those two. But um, yeah, I watched all the behind the scenes. I know he got tied up with some people. So yeah, a big thing with that particular referee. But it just teams they move a lot. We've always seen franchises move. So we've seen the Supersonics move from Seattle to Oklahoma City when they changed ownership. And now it looks like city of Seattle going to get a another NBA team. Hopefully they bring back the Supersonics. I would like
Yeah.
to see that. And you see, I think Vegas is another one. So I think those are the two cities that's going to get NBA teams. Um, but that doesn't mean that every team in the NBA is going to stay put outside of the big market teams. So I don't think I don't know. Let me ask you this. Do you think Memphis is going to stay for the long haul? Like the Grizzlies going to stay in Memphis, or are they really thinking about relocating the team from Memphis to Nashville?
You know, I couldn't say one way or the other, but I'm pretty sure it's crossed somebody's mind. That's, I mean, if we're thinking about it, then surely other people are thinking about it. So I'm sure it's crossed somebody's mind more than once in that organization, somebody high up. It just, like I said, the move just makes sense. It just makes
And,
sense.
and you also got to remember, for those who don't know, any decisions in terms of relocating a team or um, expanding the league, add new teams has to go through the owners. So I'm pretty sure that not only the owner of the Grizzlies, but I'm pretty sure there's some other owners out there that probably are looking at it from a standpoint of you look at the NFL, what they did with their draft and how big that was. They got they already have an NHL team, they already have a NFL team. It might just make good business sense to move the team from Memphis to Nashville.
But the market's
So
bigger here. The
yeah.
market is huge here. Nashville's one of the hottest cities in the contiguous right now. After the draft, 100 people a day were moving to Nashville.
And not only that, but players, you think about where they can live at. You got Brentwood, they probably live in Franklin. somewhere. It's uh I mean, it's they got options to me, more options. Um, Again, bigger markets. So
And they're about
mm,
to do a renovation on Bridgestone Arena.
yeah, yeah, they got like you said, it's a lot. Especially with the renovation of Bridgestone Arena, with the building of the new NFL stadium. So they got big plans for Nashville. It's already been talk about them trying to bring a Super Bowl to Nashville.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I'm pretty sure there's been talks, serious talks, and they're not gonna come out and say it. They're not gonna do that. You never know. They might just pack up, move in the middle of the night, like the Colts
like
did.
the Baltimore
No, no,
Colts
like
did.
yeah, like they did. So it's you just don't know. But if it happens, it happens. By the end of the day, it's business. It's a business
That's
move.
all it is. Nothing personal.
Yeah,
Shout
we've
out to
seen it.
Memphis. I love Memphis,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
nothing personal. It's just business. You got to go where the money
exactly.
is. People change jobs every day. Why? Because of the money.
Right,
But why not
right.
move to Nashville?
So y'all let us know how y'all feel about LeBron's statement. I have nothing against it at all. You know, it
I'm here
just
for it.
he's basically he spoke his mind, and honestly, there's a lot more people that agree with him than disagree with him. So it happens. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and if you don't like it, so be it. Ain't like he's wrong in that aspect, but you know, it's just he just spoke his mind. All right, so let's move on. So I want to talk about this. If y'all haven't heard, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has new members. Okay. Now, I'm gonna read off the list of the newly inducted members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All right. Phil Collins, Billy Idol. I hope I say this last part right, but Iron Maiden, or yeah, Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden,
Yeah. Joy Division slash New Order, Oasis, Sade, Luther Vandross, and Wu-Tang Clan.
Woo! Woo was in the building. Wu Tang is for the children.
So how you feel about this list of new inductees to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Wu definitely deserved it. I'm not saying that being biased. You look at their body of work over the last shoot, decades. Wu is definitely deserving to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Everybody else, Phil Collins has a nice discography because he was also with Genesis.
Yeah,
So
I think Genesis is already in the Rock and Roll Hall of
really,
Fame. Yeah,
so
if I'm
Genesis,
not
but Phil got in as a member of Genesis and a member of
as a
well,
solo,
as a solo act. Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, if
Shout
I
out to
remember
Phil.
correctly, if I saw that, I saw a comment saying that Genesis is already in. Um, so yeah, um,
Not too many songs I know from. Well, let's see, Billy Idol, White Wedding. What's that other song? Rebel Yell,
Dancing with Myself.
Dancing with
Um,
Myself. Billy had a good run in the '80s. I'm not too familiar with his work outside of that, but Billy had a good run in the '80s. You said somebody that I never heard of. Go over that list again.
so it's Phil Collins, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden, Joy Division slash New Order, Oasis, Sade, Luther Vandross, and obviously Wu Tang.
Luther definitely deserves it. Sade definitely deserves it. Iron Maiden has a nice body of work. I've never heard of Joy Division. Never.
Yeah, Joy Division. Yeah. So
Joy or
that's
joint?
Joy. Joy
Joy.
Division.
Like happy, happy, joy, joy.
Yeah.
I never heard of them.
Yeah, Joy.
That doesn't mean they don't deserve it, but I've never heard of them.
So just with this list, I think again, f- I have no problems with the list, honestly. Um everyone is deserving to be in the Hall of Fame.
You think
Some name
Oasis is deserving? Oasis?
actually I'm not really familiar with Oasis like that, but if they
Is that
vote him
owner?
in,
Is that owner of a lonely heart? No, that's not.
I might have heard their song. I just never know like their songs I just never knew who it was by. So if you tell me their songs, then I could be like, okay, I've heard that before. Um, but even with this list, I personally I thought Luther was already in, to be honest. That's it. I'm telling you how much I really pay attention to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I thought Luther was in. I thought Phil Collins was in as a solo artist. I thought Billy Idol was already in. Um, but I have no personally, I just don't have no issue with the list at all. But obviously, you got people that's going to make an issue of everything. So I'm gonna read off the other contenders who was up for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, outside of the ones who made it this year. New Edition, the Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, Lauryn Hill, Pink, Shakira, Jeff Buckley, Melissa Etheridge, um, who is I don't know how to say this. It's INX, I guess that's how you
An
say it.
exit. That's an
NXS, yeah,
exit.
yeah.
I need you tonight. I'm
So
sleeping.
a lot of people are upset, and I was actually on Facebook yesterday. A lot of people are upset that New Edition did not make the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They received the most fan votes with over 1 million fan votes. But that's only a part of the voting process.
Hmm.
So it's not just by fans, it's basically by who was it by? 1,200 industry experts. You got obviously the fan vote. Who else? Let me see. Let me see. You have 30 people that's on the selection committee, and they never really told us how the votes actually weigh.
Hmm.
So I actually wrote down the list in terms of most fan votes on this list. So New Edition is one, Phil Collins is two, then Pink, then Shakira, then Luther Vandross, then Nexus, then Sade, Wu-Tang, Billy Idol, Mariah Carey, Lauryn Hill, Iron Maiden, Melissa Etheridge, The Black Crowes, Oasis, Joy Division slash New Order, and Jeff Buckley. So that's the order from most votes to least votes.
I am surprised that Mariah did not get in. That's
That was,
surprising because Mariah has a hell of a discography.
and I think to me,
She's put out a lot of hits.
I don't know,
She
maybe.
she has a her volume. The volume of her body of work is huge.
Mhm. And looking at this
I'm
list,
really surprised. Wow.
that was like the first name that popped up. I'm like, Mariah Carey didn't get in. And I'm thinking, like, no disrespect to, anybody who got in before her, right? Like, but there's a lot of artists that got in before Mariah Carey.
There's a lot of artists
Uh,
that got in this year before Mariah Carey.
yeah.
Again,
And
Oasis doesn't have the body of work Mariah does. Joy Division, never heard of them. Uh, Well, Phil Collins does. Iron Maiden has a nice body of work, but I don't think it touches Mariah. Mariah, pop queen.
Yeah. So I don't know is it some type of a personal vendetta against Mariah Carey? Who knows? Um, but that was the first name that popped out. And then obviously New Edition um stood out to me too. I don't again, we don't know how the voting process goes. They're not gonna reveal it. But I heard that for every 1,200 fan votes, it counts as one vote.
Mm.
That's that's what I heard. Now I try to confirm it. I was trying to look it up. I couldn't find it, but that's what I heard. But basically 5 to 7 artists with the highest percentage of votes gets in. So when you look
Let's
at this
say
list,
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so basically you got 8 inductees. Now I'm not saying these artists that didn't make it is not going to make it. They're getting in. We all know they're getting in. So but yeah, again, like you said, there's so many artists that got in before Mariah. It's still like, and no disrespect to them at all. They got in, but
Yeah.
there will be, I don't know. I don't know how a percentage of artists, like how if you take how many artists would you say have a huge discography, a bigger discography than Mariah Carey? You could take away, you could say Michael Jackson. Um, who can you put in there? The Beatles.
Well,
Or
are we going by albums or are we going by body of work?
I think they
Because
see. That's why I don't know what they're going by.
you see what I'm saying? Because you can have a million albums, but where did they rank? How did you move the needle? Mariah moved the needle.
Yeah,
Mariah definitely moved the needle. And like you said, no disrespect to those that got in, but if you're going off body of work and popularity and things of that nature, I would see Mariah getting in before half of that list.
right. And again, I'm question I want to ask is what took Luther so long to get in? What took him so long to get in? What took
Well,
mm,
Luther Luther didn't cross over. His first crossover, his only crossover hit was Dancing with My Father. Luther's big to us. Luther's huge to us.
okay.
Luther has a tremendous body of work. But taking the
Mm.
bias out of it, he only and did you watch the documentary?
Luther?
Yeah, if you get a chance, watch that. It's you're glued to the screen the whole time,
Okay.
from some beginnings all the way to him. Well, I ain't gonna give a lot of it away, but he one of his biggest desires was to cross over,
Gotcha.
and he didn't cross. The only song he crossed over with was "Dancing with My Father."
Was that because of his sound? He was just or he just didn't
It,
have the
it
crossover
just hit.
appeal?
It just hit. I mean, he had crossover appeal. It just I don't know. I don't know. But out of all his hits, you would think he would have crossed over before that particular one. And Dance with My Father, it's sentimental, but it's not my favorite Luther song. Nowhere near it. It's not even in my Luther top 10. But that's just
Got
me.
it.
But that's the only song he had to have crossover appeal.
What outside of this list here, um, what artists or artists would you like to see in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or be considered for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't know. That's a good question because the majority of the artists that I want to see in it are already in it. Jay-Z is already in it. Run MC is already in it. I believe LL is already in it. Let's
Which
see.
but see that's what gets me though. Like, no disrespect to Jay-Z, but he's in before Mariah.
I don't make the rules.
Like Jay-Z was going to be in it regardless, but before Mariah, like no, that's what I'm about to say too. No disrespect to Missy Elliott, but before Mariah,
No, no. Missy before Mariah? No, absolutely not.
so it's
Absolutely not.
I would
Missy
like to
doesn't make everybody work, but no.
yeah, so I would like to see like what the voting system how it's broken down.
Right. What are the demographics? What are you going by? And is it antiquated?
Yeah.
Like the Grammy system, or whether I don't think the Grammy system is antiquated anymore. They claim it isn't. But the Oscars,
Yeah.
is it do they go by the same, do they play by the same set of rules? Now getting back
No.
to this list, let me play devil's advocate for a minute. New edition, not Bell Biv DeVoe, not Bobby Brown, not Ralph, not take away all of their, because when you think about their body of work, it's very easy to think about DVD and all of the solo acts. It's very easy to include that in that. But you take all of that out of it and just focus on just New Edition. Do they have the body of work it takes to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And keep in mind, I like New Edition. I saw them not this time, but the last time they came to Nashville, and I enjoyed the show.
Um, I mean, from what teenagers all the way up till let me see, mid 90s. Well, I know they had a hit in like in the early 2000s. That was like their last hit. But as a group,
That's what I'm saying. You gotta focus strictly on New Edition and not
yeah,
all the
that's
solo acts. Because Bobby's career was more stellar than New Edition's to me. Bobby was that guy.
yeah.
That was the best
I
thing that Bobby could have ever done was lead New Edition for, for himself.
well,
Bobby was,
him
Bobby was the dude.
him getting kicked out was the best thing for him.
Well, yeah.
Well, he was already I mean, in a way he kind of left, but they just say that he kicked him out, so be it. But yeah, he did become a bigger star solo. Um, not only as an artist, but in pop culture as well. So, and all of them had, their successes and obviously their downfalls too, like everybody does in the industry. But as a group,
This is a group. How many albums did New Edition actually have? Let's look it up. Just
uh,
them.
I don't know, maybe what, five, maybe. I'm guessing five. I
Mm,
I can't really call
okay.
it.
Candy Girl album, the One Love album,
J Heartbreak album.
yeah, the Heartbreak album, All for Love.
Hmm.
Is that an album?
I don't know why I said
That
J
was out.
Heartbreak.
Yeah. Any heartbreak. Say
Yeah.
Home Again when they all got back together in '96. I think they cut an album after that. They cut a gang of albums. They put in some work, but they didn't just cut just a busting amount of albums. They didn't put out albums like Prince.
Nah, nah.
So you think about it, did they really? I mean, the fan in me, yeah, you're always gonna root for the ones that appeal to you. But I don't know. I'm looking at the screen and I don't see a whole lot of albums up here.
I think the last album they did that I remember is with Bad Boy, if I
They did an
remember.
they did an album after that, but it didn't do a lot. I know
That's why.
BBD did an album after they got back together. Um, I think they did an album after the Bad Boy album. Home Again was Home Again the Bad Boy album? Yeah, Home Again was the Bad Boy album. When they got back
Oh,
together, and I think they did an album after that.
oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I think when people vote, I think they're looking at the whole entire thing instead of just uh the group itself. But we know eventually they'll get in. We know that's gonna happen. Um, I don't know if I remember, is Boyz II Men in? Are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
this boy, this, I can't talk. Does Boys to Men have the work required to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't know.
Let's see. Boys to Men Hall of Fame. No, they're in the
Uh,
R&B Music Hall of Fame and the Vocal Group Hall of Fame. They're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
okay. Because they was it Boys is Boyz II Men the biggest selling R&B group of all time, if I'm not mistaken,
Well, they sold 60 albums.
in terms of R&B group. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Biggest selling R&B group of all time is, yeah, Boyz II Men. With over 60 to 64 million albums sold worldwide. Wow. And they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
yeah, so that's and they like you said with Luther trying to cross over, Boyz II Men crossed over. So, I mean, I would like to know the criteria, but I guess
Yeah, I do.
I do. I need to see how it's broken down so we can have a better understanding of
Yeah,
this
better
of
understanding of why certain people get in and why certain people don't.
and why
And
they
I get
why
it. I get it. Everything doesn't appeal to everybody. I get that, but still, it's
yeah,
like if you had told me last year that half of those groups that got in this year would get in and Mariah wouldn't, but I would have took that bet.
yeah. And people like I said, people was like, why New Edition didn't get in? Because they looked at the votes, right? I'm looking at the fact that Mariah Carey didn't get in. So I know she ain't getting in. I know New Edition ain't getting
New
in.
Edition ain't getting in. You not getting in before Mariah.
No, no. But you know what? Eventually, we all know they're gonna get in. I know there's gonna be some more artists that's gonna be up for it. So we'll see how this goes forward. I know the ceremony is in November this year, if I remember correctly. I'm not gonna watch it because I really don't pay attention to it. But I tell you one thing though, Gene Simmons is, eyes rolling the back of his head. I know he's heated because I don't know if you heard his statements about the
I
Rock and
have.
Roll Hall of Fame,
I
and
have.
basically saying like a lot of these artists shouldn't be in because it's called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Um, do you think they should keep it as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or should they change the name to something else?
No, why change the name? What would you change it to? Music Hall of Fame?
I mean,
And
it
and
doesn't.
oxtail and
It,
oxtail comes off a cow, but cowtail just don't sound as enticing as oxtail.
yeah, that's what I was about to say.
So
It doesn't
yeah,
have a ring
didn't have
to it.
that same je ne sais quoi. So I mean, what would you call it? What else could you call it other than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't see anything else you would call it other than that.
Exactly. Exactly. So
You
why
know,
change it?
uh, yeah, just keep it how it is. I mean, Um, and then when you think about rock and roll, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Little Richard, the Chuck Berrys, Fats Dominoes, things like that. People like that. Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, that whole era, that's what I look at as rock and roll. And then
Right.
you got this other era. They call themselves rock and roll, but you were actually just rock. You wasn't rolling.
Mhm.
So,
That's a good point.
so that's the way I see it. But at some point, I mean, let's just be honest, you ain't gonna have enough. Well, you're not gonna have any rock and roll artists that's gonna fit into that Hall of Fame. I mean, as time goes forward, you know, unless you go way back to people that we probably never heard of, um, you know, it's inclusive to all different um genres of music. Is there any gospel artists that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Let's see.
'Cause I'm curious now. I'm really thinking about it because I know we got
While I'm
rock
while I'm
stars.
looking at while I'm looking at this, here's a little Rock and Roll Hall of Fame trivia. Useless unless you're on Jeopardy or some shit. Randy Jackson is the only Jackson brother that did not get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
They didn't because he wasn't included in terms of the original Jackson Five.
He wasn't in the original Jackson 5, exactly. And I got into a debate with somebody about that, and they were saying, well, Michael could have done something for him. Michael could have pulled some strings.
Nah,
Oh,
he wasn't. He
no.
wasn't there for
He,
that
he, he wasn't in the
Jackson
Jackson
Five.
5. He played, as he got older, before they turned into the Jacksons, he played with the Jackson 5, but he wasn't an official member. He was a member of the Jacksons.
Yeah, Jackson
Uh,
Five.
let's let's see. Sister Rosetta Tharpe was inducted in 2018. That's it. Other key inductees who began in or heavily incorporated gospel music include Sam Cooke, Aretha Franklin, and Ray Charles.
That's
That's
it.
it. Sister Rosetta Tharpe, and I don't even know who she is.
I mean, I know Sam Cooke, I know Ray Charles, and they dabbled in they just great artists, period. So they
Period.
they dabbled in some and everything. But in terms of strictly this is straight up gospel artists,
Sister
who
Rosetta Tharpe. And it says here she's a gospel singer and guitarist whose 1930s slash 40s music directly influenced early rock.
so they went all the way back to the 30s and 40s to induct the gospel artists.
And she didn't get into 2018.
So that means Kurt Franklin ain't getting into the year 3000.
Well, I didn't know the Staple Singers were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's impressive. Wow. Okay, I digress. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because I'm like, well, I know they got rock and roll artists, rock artists, hip hop artists, R&B artists, pop artists, but what about and obviously reggae? They got some there's Bob Marley in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, ain't he?
Pops in there for sure.
So I was curious about if they had a gospel artist in there. But if there is a gospel artist out right now that you think is definitely deserving of being in the Hall of Fame, who would that be?
Probably Kirk.
I would probably say Kirk too.
Probably Kirk. Yeah, Kirk for
I
sure.
I think eventually I at some point I believe he's going to get in. I think if people if, with their committee, if they actually want to make it as diverse as they say they want to, I believe they'll look at Kirk Franklin as a real serious candidate. for the Rock and Roll Hall
Oh,
of Fame.
I don't know how you can speak to diversity and Mariah didn't get in. That's mind blowing to me.
But you can also make the opposite point that Wu Tang got in. So
Yeah, touche.
so yeah. But we'll see going forward. If Mariah ain't in next year, I'm gonna have a rant next year. I'm definitely gonna be ranting next year, and I'm telling you, if I see a Britney Spears in before her,
It's gonna be a problem.
it's definitely gonna be a problem. So, but yeah, y'all let us know in the comments, man. Who the who's the biggest snub this year for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? How do you feel about the inductees this year into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and who you would like to see be nominated for next year? All right.
So,
All right, Ron, man. I appreciate you coming on with me tonight, man.
man, happy
Uh
to be here as always.
as always, man, this is always gonna be fun with you on. Uh and don't worry, we will bring Monica back. She's busy right now. She got some stuff that she has to do. You
Right.
know,
Y'all go out and vote. Go out and vote.
yes.
And vote for
Early,
my girl. Vote for my girl
definitely.
Monica.
So early voting started today. So go out there and vote. Use your voice. Go out there and vote. Don't wait. Or if you need to wait a little bit longer, do that as well. But go
Just
ahead
vote.
and just vote.
Sometime between now and the end of voting.
Right.
Vote.
All right, Ron, you got any last words?
No. Great show. Appreciate you having me on as usual. Definitely do this again real soon.
Yep, for sure, man. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Hit that subscribe button. Uh, tell your friends and family about the podcast, man. Any topics y'all want us to talk about, please, y'all could send me a DM and um, I'll consider it. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna talk about it, but
So you consider it. That's what's
I'll
up.
I'll consider it. But until next time, y'all. For Ron, I'm Darius from Drinking After Dark podcast. We out. Peace.
Peace.